Here we are at the Herbert H. Bateman Center. This is the educational center for Chincoteague Island, or Assateague, really. We're on Assateague now. There you can see the center.
All the freshwater wetlands on the refuge are man-made impoundments and have been constructed so water levels can be seasonally adjusted to provide food and habitat for different types of birds. The refuge manages 14 of these wetlands called moist soil management, whose combined services can provide more than 26 acres for waterfowl, wading and shorebirds, as well as other wildlife.
Oh, there's the live eagle nest. Yep, she's empty. There's the display showing the eagle coming in to feed the babies. Come on, Michael. Michael said, I'll be right over. You look professional now.
Oh, always professional, you know?
That's right. That's right.
We've got the volunteers and others to hold me accountable, so we try to put our best foot forward.
Awesome. Okay.
We're a working refuge and a refuge works, so there's always something going on. This is the Herbert H. Bateman Educational Administrative Center. It was built in 2002, had the grand opening in 2003, and this is one of the locations where we welcome and orient visitors to the refuge. We encourage them to start or finish their visit here to learn about who we are, what we do, and why it's important.
Let me ask you a few questions, okay? Because a lot of people that have never been to Assateague, Chincoteague Island, on a lot of my blogs and videos that I do, I try to educate people that the island is migrating constantly. It's growing. I was here 30 years ago, and the island itself is a lot longer than what it was. Why is this?
If you look at the map here, showing you a full-length version of the island itself.
Right.
Going back in recent history, there was a major storm in 1962, the Ash Wednesday storm.
Right.
And that created an inlet up on the northern portion of the island, just south of Ocean City. And that inlet still exists today. But with that inlet being created on the island, it kind of cut off the natural flow of sand.
Okay.
So what they have occurring on the north end of the island is they do replenish the sand each year.
Right.
Through the natural barrier island process, that sand does move, and it will accrete on the southern end.
Got my Tom's hook, right?
Right. Most barrier islands, the end of the island kind of ebbs and flows like the tail of a dog.
Okay.
So even this graphic here, though this building was built in 2003, this graphic is already out of date because the hook has grown and the shape is completely different today.
Wow. Cool. Now, as far as the ecosystem, and how does the ecosystem here benefit most Americans? I mean, most Americans who live in the cities, they have no clue what we have out here, okay? But this is actually home to, I don't know how many birds and reptiles and...
It's a wonderful ecosystem. We have over 320 different types of birds that rely upon this barrier island for nesting, resting, or breeding grounds. So the habitat itself is critical for supporting not only birds, but animals of all different types.
Bears?
We don't have bears out here, no.
No coyotes yet?
No.
Not
We
yet.
do have coyotes.
Oh, you do?
We have
Really? You got
fox,
coyotes, really?
all different types of mammals.
I have to ask, how do you control the coyotes? Because they're becoming a real problem in Pennsylvania. I mean, you're smart. You're laughing. Okay. That's a touchy subject. Okay.
I was actually walking over here to show you the piping plover exhibit. We have different ways of controlling predators during the breeding season. We don't necessarily do it all year round.
Okay.
We work with USDA to control some of the predators, whether it be the greater black-backed gulls or foxes, coyotes, things of that nature that would predate upon the young birds during the nesting season.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So we have the exhibit itself is kind of broken down in different sections. Here we
Okay.
talk about briefly about the Native American history. We have a lot of cultural resources, just a few. This is a small portion of the cultural resources that are on display. We have
Well, now,
volunteers working
Because it's a federal reserve, there's no excavating done, right?
it's a federal.
Federal.
It's Department of Interior,
Right.
both U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service
Okay.
and National Park Service.
Okay. But are people allowed to excavate for old foundations and artifacts?
Can't
No,
do
I
any
didn't think
metal
so.
detecting. Can't
Okay.
do any disturbance of the soil. Anything of that nature, you'd have to
Well, that's important
apply
because,
for
yeah.
a special use permit.
Right, right, yeah, that's
No
important.
collecting
No
of
collecting,
cultural
right.
resources items, nothing
Now,
of that nature.
seashells are collecting, and yet people pick them up all the time.
We have any activity of that nature has to go through an appropriate use or compatibility determination.
Okay.
We do have a compatibility determination for shellfishing on a limited basis.
Okay.
Visitors are allowed to take up to 1 gallon.
Okay.
They're not supposed to sell them commercially.
Right, right.
So it's part of making memories.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
And it's a renewable resource.
Okay.
So here they learn a little bit about the cultural history of the island. And then we segue into learning about how we manage the piping plover, which is the Atlantic coast population is threatened, not endangered.
Okay.
Talks a little bit about the activities that the biologists do to monitor and maintain the habitat for the benefit of that threatened species.
Cool.
Earlier you were asking about the importance of the habitat.
Right.
Oftentimes when I'm talking to general visitors, I ask them, where'd you come from? And how'd you get here?
Right.
Did you ride your bike? Did you come by car, vehicle? Did you fly? And think about how many times you had to stop on the way to rest or replenish yourself before getting here.
Right.
Those stops are important to you, and they're equally important to wildlife and necessary for their
Okay.
survivability.
Awesome. I like your displays. That really, really tells the story. It's real graphic and it's again, a lot of people don't appreciate it, but it's part of our ecosystem, and it's a treasure. It is a national treasure to preserve our national parks. I always tell people, you really want to just take the time to come here because it's a whole different world. It's a whole different experience. Especially for children. I can't emphasize this enough, but children, parents, get the kids out here, okay? It's something because in Washington D.C. you don't see this. You don't. I don't care where you are. You're not going to see the diversification that's here.
Well, the great thing is we're within a day's drive of many of the metropolitan areas, so it's easy access. And we are one of over 560 national wildlife refuges, so
Okay.
we're part of a system. And that system is important.
Right.
And the visitor center itself is meant to, like I said, welcome, orient, and then encourage people to get outside where the landscape can kind of speak for itself. It's
Right.
a place to discover.
Okay.
This is a popular exhibit for kids, the freshwater exhibit.
Okay.
They can learn about photosynthesis, what plants eat, what eats the plants, food
Okay.
chain. Just a sense of discovery, kind of being underwater
Right,
over here
yeah.
with the eagle catching the fish.
Okay. That's cool. That's neat.
We even have, I work here, it took me a while. Some things are carefully planned to be at kid level.
Okay.
Young scientists in the making.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Now here we start to talk about the Delmarva Fox Squirrel,
Okay.
which is soon to be one of our success stories. It was endangered. It has been proposed for delisting. It may be delisted by the end of this year. but it's still currently on the endangered species list. But this exhibit here talked about the plight of the Delmarva Fox Squirrel,
Okay.
dependency upon the forest habitat here.
Now, I don't understand. Bald eagles do we have on the island? Do we know?
Ooh,
Or breeding?
I don't know the exact number. I do know we have at least 4 active nests
Okay.
on the island.
Cool.
There's one within close proximity that the visitors can watch. It's
Mhm.
actually connected to this camera.
Right.
We have fiber optics connected to that camera, so the visitors can watch the eagle activity. And that's located out by the wildlife loop. You can use binoculars, or you can even see the nest with your naked eye.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So they're definitely making a comeback. That's a good thing. We have them in Pennsylvania as well. I mean, it's
Yeah, that's one of our best success stories with the bald eagle,
Right,
the
right.
recovery of the bald eagle.
right.
This area here,
Okay.
this is a wonderful activity here. Working with
Okay.
our volunteers and local master naturalists, they built
Alright.
a native bird garden
Okay.
so that visitors can come
Right.
and enjoy some backyard birding.
Mhm.
The stripes that you see there is a type of bird saver
Right.
to put on the windows to prevent bird strikes and bird mortality. But it helps to highlight the importance of the volunteers and the work they do here on the
Now,
refuge.
why is it? I don't know if you know the answer, but why a lot of the pines are like dead on the edges of the marsh? You'll see just people will ask that a lot. Why?
You're very, very observative.
I mean,
Keen
well,
observation.
Well, it's just they're like toothpicks. They're like, you know what I'm saying, and they're only along the shoreline. Is that because of salt water?
Depending upon where you're looking, there's several reasons why the pines are dying on the island.
Okay.
In 2012, we had Hurricane Sandy, which wreaked havoc upon the island and stressed some of the trees. Many of them are down. On the edge of the wetlands, you'll find what we kind of refer to as ghost forests.
Okay.
Okay, and that is due to the change in sea level rise, salinity. It's affecting the trees upon the edge. That water lens is coming up, and it's affecting the roots.
So that's the next question. But I'm sure the biologist will know this, but we're surrounded by seawater. Where does the fresh water come from for the plants? They need fresh water, not seawater, right?
Right.
I mean, it rains, of course, but then that's only so much. I mean, it's kind of interesting as you think about it. Where's the water table? Is the water table,
The water table is very shallow here.
Okay.
If you look at we have over 14 impoundments, freshwater or brackish impoundments
Okay.
that we use to manage the different water levels for the
Okay.
wildlife, and that is all rain fed. There are no spring fed aquifers out here. It's all rain fed.
Or rain? It would have to be right, because it doesn't make sense to have a spring because you have salt water. It would leach into the right.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.